Hello. Welcome back to the channel. So I've got a lot of formations for you today. I promised that I would do a video on the Emergency Banking Act, aka the New Deal. So let's get right into it here. Back in 1933, FDR was the proponent, or the president presiding over this Congress. And what the Emergency Banking Act did was it gave all the property was mortgaged and held in trust for the Federal Reserve Bank as collateral for the national debt. All constitutional money, meaning gold, was outlawed for any United States citizen. Can't have any money. This was done with House Joint Resolution HJR 192, and actually, more specifically, 48 Stat Public Law 89 719, House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress, M Session, June 5th, 1933. Now, this was proposed in Congress on March 9th of 1933. So what happened is we declared bankruptcy. We were already in bankruptcy anyway, but this was a reorganization of the bankruptcy. HJR 192. So, payments in constitutional money was deemed against public policy. Simultaneously, FDR, with Executive Order 6102, made holding or hoarding all gold bullion, coins, and certificates to be unlawful. They had to be turned in to the Federal Reserve under the threat of fines and 10 years imprisonment. So people have no idea what is really going on, and it's really bad that they don't know. Really bad that you don't know this stuff. It affects you in ways you have no idea, and to extents you couldn't imagine. So this made U.S. citizens creditors to the United States bankruptcy and made it illegal for Americans to pay for anything. Gold is still traded for Federal Reserve notes of indebtedness, also known as, and it's impossible to pay for anything with a note of debt. It's worthless. The dollar is colorable currency. Look that one up. It means, colorable means something acting to be something that it is not. We also have colorable courts and colorable jurisdiction in this corporation we think is a country. So it's impossible to pay for anything. Notes of debt do not pay for anything, but instead only delay payment until a later date. You think you own your house because you paid for it with Federal Reserve notes? You didn't pay a dime. You discharged the debt. That's it. Sorry, I'm not one of these professional YouTube people. And I have no place to put this freaking board, so I'm sitting on the freaking floor. Anyway. They instead offered credit instead of gold. So gold is turned in, and the Federal Reserve gives the banks unlimited credit. But not for us, the people, just for the banks. So, all of our gold is confiscated. It is given to the Federal Reserve Bank because they are the sovereign now, and we are the sharecroppers. We're not allowed to hold any allodial title to or ownership to any property, any real money. Do you know that $1 billion is not even worth 1 penny in gold? Did you know that? Fiat means worthless, zero worth. So anyway, this is what went on. They didn't give the unlimited credit to the people, they gave it to the banks. Now, there's remedy in this, okay? I'll get into that later, but this is what's going on here. Do you know what hypothecated means? That means when you can transfer ownership of something, but yet it still stays with the person that thinks they own it, but they don't own it. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to your money, your land, your parents' land. They don't own it. You think they own it? They don't own it. If they identify as a United States citizen. They also abrogated the gold clause, right? They did that because all property was mortgaged, and you know what mortgage means? Death pledge. I've gone over that in videos before. They're all held in trust for the Federal Reserve Bank as collateral for the national debt. All of this was done without full knowledge or consent of the American people. Like, no knowledge. Let's be honest here. This is the year, 1933, that the government instituted the creation of the all capitals straw man name. Straw man names, obviously the one for every one of us, for American citizens via newly required birth certificates, right? They weren't required before that for a U.S. citizen. Guess what a birth certificate is? A territory. It's a territory on a piece of paper. Well, guess what? Everything was hypothecated to the Federal Reserve Bank. Everything. All territories. All non-incorporated territories. That means a U.S. citizen, national parks, District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, yada, yada, yada. All owned by the Federal Reserve Banks. Your masters. Or the masters of the United States citizens, to be more specific. So, doing this, it thus was creating a new class of persons as debtor slaves, sharecroppers. You think you aren't one of those? You either can be or you can't be. Depends on if you know how to communicate your correct standing, status, and name. If you don't, you're a debtor slave, bro, lady, wherever you are. If you don't know how to communicate what you are and who you are, you're a slave. You think slaves are just people with dark pigment? You are gravely mistaken. And I mean gravely. Look at the name on every gravestone in a graveyard. All capital names. Straw man. Are you a straw man? Are you made of straw? Are you a fictional corporation? A corporate fictional person? No, you're not. Of course you're not. So, if you want to look this up right here. 48 Stat, Public Law 8719, House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress, M Session, June 5th, 1933. Now, the United States, as of this date, exists in name only. Federal government exists in name only. This is because the Office of the Treasury was transferred to the governor of the IMF, the central bank. The Office of the Treasury, the Treasurer of the United States of America, receives no compensation for that job. It doesn't exist. There is no there's no federal United States. It exists in name only. It's gone. Bye-bye. And that is Public Law 94-564, page 8, House Resolution 13955. Federal government exists in name only, operating in de facto status under the emergency war powers, acting as trustees and presiding over the reorganization of a bankruptcy. The United States has been bankrupt for hundreds of years. You don't believe me? Look it up. You guys should be looking this up anyway. Every American should be looking this stuff up. Otherwise, you're just choosing to be victims, and if we don't look this up, we deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. You want to be, you think you can just be comfortable and watch TV and play sports, watch sports, and go home and do what you want and be free? Wrong. Wrong. It takes work. It takes learning knowledge. Do you think these guys that did all this didn't put all kinds of work in? They deserve it more than you do. If you aren't doing this research, I'm sorry if that hurts, but that's the truth. They've done the work. Have you? Did they deceive everybody? Sure. Can you get remedy if you can learn this? Yes. So, whose fault is it? Certainly not completely theirs, right? So, when this happened, that's when we created this type of democracy. And you know what this type of democracy is? Let's see, you own nothing, you're a sharecropper, you're renting, you think you own your house? Wrong. Sharecroppers can own nothing. You're renting your property or your house, you think you own it? I don't care if it's paid off. It was never paid. You never paid a penny. You paid for it with Federal Reserve notes. You paid nothing. You just promised to pay later on. Not good, right? You're not going to like to hear this, but this democracy that you think we're in is a socialist communist order. People talk about, oh, communists are coming, communists are coming. You know when the communists took over? 1933. 88 years ago. This is how long we've been imprisoned with ignorance. So you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. I'll back up so you can take a picture of this if you want to. Hold on, I'll get up. I suggest you do. I suggest you do some research. You want to hear I got this formation, from a speech that was retold, if you will, by a narrator from the Silver Report Uncut. Great channel on YouTube. And this guy narrated what Representative James Traficant said in Congress. This guy got up and told the truth. 9 years later, he was, what this guy says, framed for corruption and put in prison and died in prison 7 years later. I suggest you listen to that. Obviously the guy is a lot smarter than I am, and you can hear it, verbatim. To do that, go to urlaw.org and scroll down on the first page, and it'll say bankruptcy speech. That's it. That's where I got this stuff. I mean, I know a bunch of this stuff. I've known it already, okay? But it gets more specific in the House joint resolutions and some dates and so forth. So I suggest you check it out. You'll be shocked. It's it's really bad stuff here, and you need to get yourself out of it. And if more of you get yourselves out of it, it's a lot easier for someone like I, who knows what to do pretty much, not completely. It makes it easier for me. You know, when I talk to people, I've said these things to people before. You know what they tell me? That I'm a whack job. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Really? It's right in government frickin' documents, bro. What, so you go to the Library of Congress and someone faked that? I mean, how stupid does someone just, are they bathing in the ignorance and they like it? Maybe. It's your choice, or their choice. I choose to know. I choose to not only know and have knowledge, but I want to learn how to position myself grammatically and contractually so that I can be, you know, what an American was supposed to be when this country started. And, you know, that isn't, you know, our founding fathers did not create a government that was going to push them around, for God's sake. I mean, doesn't that at least make sense to some people? Do you think our founding fathers would create a government that would do what your government is doing to you right now? And you know what? It's the same government. Because, you know what? All of these things that I show you only pertain to United States citizens. A United States citizen is not a corporeal being. It is a non-living person, a corporation, a fiction. So, as horrible of a travesty as this is, none of this pertains to you if you're a living man or woman and you know how to communicate it. Right? So, I hope you enjoyed this. You know, research some of this stuff, okay? You know, we all need to research some of this stuff. I hear people recently talking about, oh, well, you know, POTUS is, you know, the military are going to take over and they're going to, you know, maybe. But I'm telling you right now, it's doubtful. It's doubtful. This is not up to Trump. This is not up to Biden. This is not up to Fauci. This is not up to anybody but you. Your republic is like your faith. It's personal. Democracy is a socialist communist order. So, you know, you go ahead and embrace your democracy if you're someone that wants to do that. I wish you the best of luck. You're going to need it because you are just a fool. And I certainly hope that, I doubt many of you out there watching this are, but I'm sure some of your friends have, if you've told them about my videos. And again, I'm no professional, so, you know, I'm sure they can, you know, poke fun at this or that. But, you know, like I said, you know, please, you know, tell them to comment to me. I'll straighten them out. I'll straighten them out, and I'll straighten them out with kindness and love. This isn't about me knowing more than you. This is about us together taking our country back. And you know, in closing, this is something that we really, really need to do. But just to throw another little wrench in there, even if we do take our country back, our republic back, do you realize that a republic, the concept of a republic, is Freemasonry? It's Illuminati. Okay? You know, almost like, you know, Aleister Crowley, you know, and that dude was a fucking, you know, Luciferian Satanist. So, but better to be free than be a slave. And you know, it's okay to be able to do whatever you want if you're, you know, I can't think of the right word, but if you're, smart enough and good enough to perform your republic and not be an asshole to other people, right? Because let's be honest, even in the common law, Magna Carta, right? That was instituted in 1215, okay? 6 years ago, right? Even in that, the common law says if the last unrebutted affidavit stands as truth, right? He who does not assert his rights has none, right? If somebody sends you a mortgage statement and you pay it,